Violins are like fingerprints. Each one has a different back. There are different striations to it. There are different ways it's put together. The story of the Strad is that in 1943, my father got that violin, the Stradivarius violin, and he played it until 1980. And in 1980, he gave a concert at the Longchy School of Music and put it into what was called the green room, thinking there was only one door to the green room, and there were two doors. And a young student who was extremely jealous of him, but was not my father's student, stole the violin. And I remember talking to my dad and saying, "Daddy, are you okay?" He said, "It is all right." He said, "It's just like having your left hand stolen," which is the way it was for him because this was his musical partner. My father and mother both thought they knew who stole it. They were correct, but they didn't have the wherewithal to be able to get the FBI to get a search warrant. So skip forward 35 years, and this man dies 1 year before my father, tells his wife he's left two violins for his ex-wife and their children. She and her boyfriend 3 years later took a look at the violin and saw Stradivarius inside. Now there are lots of violins that have Stradivarius inside and are not Stradivarius. She was smart enough to call one of his former colleagues and get the name of a dealer/appraiser, and he was a violin dealer who had studied in the Stradivarius school, knew my father, knew about the violin, took one look at the violin and said, "This looks to me like Roman Totenberg's violin." Yes, this is a Stradivarius, but it was stolen from Roman Totenberg 35 years ago.
The violin was in remarkable shape considering it hasn't been to a violin shop in 35 years. Even though the restoration took several years, it was just undoing the little bit of maintenance that the thief had done himself, removing old glue. The seams would open and he would glue them with various things like white glue, super glue, but so it was time-consuming, but nothing structural.
My sister said to me, "I got a call last night from the FBI. Are you sitting down?" We said yes. And she said, "They think they found Daddy's violin." And both Amy and I went, and then we started to laugh. And then a nervous laugh. And then we were just so happy that this instrument had been finally returned to us in good shape after more than 35 years. We both got off the phone and we both cried with both sadness that our father had not seen it, but happiness that it was finally back. And we knew that it was going to be in a place where it would be shared with others.
We established in consortium especially for this particular reason of being able to provide a platform for benefactors to loan instruments to young musicians. Finding Nathan or matchmaking Nathan and the Strad was a process of really trying to find the best match in terms of physical characteristics and temperament. The violin, as Nathan mentioned, is a large instrument and requires someone who's physically quite large, but it also has a very unique, deep masculine voice, which is typical of late period Strads. His playing is remarkable, he's very talented, he's got a lot of potential, and we want someone who will showcase the violin in the best possible way. The Strads vary from $2 to $3 million up to about $25 million. I can't tell you exactly how much this violin sold for because of confidentiality. It sold somewhere between $5 and $10 million. The most expensive instrument that we have currently is about $15 million. The violin market is a small niche market, but it is basically attached to the art market. So the same way people invest in art, they do invest in violins. The added benefits of owning an instrument is that you can actually go hear it played on stage and travel with it around the world and see it in many different stages. The value of instrument is tied in very much specifically to the maker of the instrument and the condition. So the best makers were all coming from a small town in Italy in the 17th and 18th century, and beyond that point the great making, classical violin making was basically done. So the same way that great painting that was done in the 18th century cannot be reproduced today, we can't really reproduce violins in the same way.
It's the kind of violin that has its own kind of energy to it. And I love practicing it just to explore all the sounds I can create. And it's really to the point now that I'm having to think more about music than I have had to before, because the violin can really give me different sounds than I had ever been able to even imagine.